the anti-disco song that turned the BEEs into legends. There was a moment when everybody figured the Bee Gees were doomed to play only under the neon lights of a dance floor until they decided to flip the script on everything. In 1977, they dropped a track nobody saw coming, one that didn't just buck the disco fever, it made them legends for good. Stick around, cause today we're diving into how a single song rewrote the story of one of the greatest bands ever. The 1970s didn't cut anybody slack. If your tune wasn't blasting on the radio, you didn't exist. But the Bee Gees knew how to roll with it. Every album they put out, every TV spot, every show was a straight-up explosion of hits. Global fame came in the form of records flying off shelves like hotcakes, endless tours crisscrossing Europe, America, and slowly Asia. In 1975, their cut Jive Talkin' shot them to the top of the Billboard 100 and screamed loud and clear that their sound was shifting, leaning into funk disco grooves, crystal clear falsettos, and slick production. The next year, 1976, they unleashed You Should Be Dancing, a banger that owned the dance floor and turned into an anthem for anybody who lived for rhythm and moves. From there, the Bee Gees slowly became pop giants. Producers, fans, media, everybody wanted a piece. The industry had stamped an image on them, and that image sparkled as bright as the sequins on their suits. But all that shine comes with a cost. While the world danced, they felt something else. They felt the squeeze of fitting into a musical box that didn't always match what they wanted to say as artists. That success started feeling like a golden cage. Every cheer, every radio smash, every admiring glance reminded them the safe road was paved and shiny, but it wasn't necessarily theirs. And one day, that pressure hit the breaking point. Between rehearsals, studio time, and endless commitments, tension started bubbling inside the band. The brothers wanted to prove they weren't just decade flash, they were songwriters, musicians, dreamers who deserved props for more than making crowds shake it. Arguments popped off over arrangements, lyrics, what track really captured who they were, and where the group should head next. But out of that search and pressure storm, inside and out, came the spark for something different. It wouldn't be another disco banger, it'd be a ballad that hit straight to the heart. Its name was How Deep Is Your Love, and it didn't sound like anything we'd heard before. Before we roll on, we want to know you a little better. Where are you watching from? Drop it in the comments. Let's keep going. A song that looked simple on the surface, but carried a whole universe of bottled up feelings, messages the guys wanted to send way beyond the beat. Writing it wasn't easy, but man, the process was magic. They wanted the emotion to speak louder than any quick cash, the realness of the music to hit harder than any fleeting applause. Inspiration came from everywhere. Loves that left scars, goodbyes, lonely hotel rooms after marathon tours. They wanted the track to be a safe spot, not just another radio spin. The goal was for the listener to feel something deep, to close their eyes and flash back to a love, a friendship, a moment gone forever. In a world drowning in surface glitter, How Deep Is Your Love became an act of guts. The guts to stay true to yourself even when every eye's on you. And right there, smack in the clash between fame and realness, they figured out who they truly were. Musicians dead set on leaving something that lasted, something about raw feelings, not just catchy grooves. What a lot of folks don't know is that cutting How Deep Is Your Love felt almost sacred to the Bee Gees, way different from the disco joints we were used to. This time, they took their sweet time and space, sessions dragged into the wee hours, studio lit only by warm lamps, silence broken just by a guitar chord or keyboard whisper. Every member knew they were crafting something special, something that needed full focus and care. The creative bubble wasn't for show, it was a must. Breaking the mold wouldn't be simple, and they wanted every note, every harmony to scream the true feeling behind the song. With the track locked, the big moment arrived: release. The Bee Gees knew they had fire, but had no clue how the world would react. How Deep Is Your Love hit with a mix of nerves and hope. Hit that like button if you're loving the story. Let's roll. To everybody's shock, the song blew past every expectation while pulling off something just as wild. Connecting with kids, adults, folks from all over, turning into a quiet anthem that didn't need neon or mirror balls to shine. Younger fans caught the depth of the writing, older ones clocked the class and care in every note, and critics started talking about the Bee Gees not just as disco kings, but as artists who could craft timeless beauty. In the States, it grabbed the #1 spot on the Billboard 100 on December 25 that year and camped out up top for weeks. In the UK, it peaked at number 3, hanging in the 100 for 15 weeks. If that wasn't enough, the track spent 17 weeks inside the top 10 of the 100 in the US rare air for a ballad smack in the disco craze. Sales and certs tell the tale too. Gold in the US for over 1 million copies. Gold in the UK for over 500,000 units. The impact exploded when the song slid into the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, that flick already a cultural monster defining an era's sound. There, How Deep Is Your Love found the perfect pocket, like a breather moment amid the dance floor frenzy.
I believe in you. You know the door to.
Surrounded by dance bangers, the Bee Gees' cut offered emotional oxygen, a second to remember that behind the beat there were feelings, stories, real heart, and moviegoers felt it. Reviews praised the subtle writing, the rich harmonies, and the brothers' ability to leap past the genre that made them stars. The effect on fans was instant and deep. Tons heard it and flashed back to loves, friendships, moments they thought were buried, just like the Gibbs pictured while writing. It was music that could soundtrack a tear or a smile, music that didn't just entertain, but walk through life with you. And in a world spinning to the disco beat, here was proof that real feelings could cut through even a global dance and lights fever. Amid other artists' disco heaters like Feel Love or Cool and The Gang's Celebration, How Deep Is Your Love stood tall as one of the 70s all-time best. What's your favorite Bee Gees tune? Drop it in the comments so we can all give it a spin. As the final chords faded in the studio and city lights started dimming outside the window, the Bee Gees knew they'd taken a huge step. They'd proved they could make music you feel in your bones, lived from the heart. And even if the industry and trends pointed elsewhere, they'd carved their own lane. Over time, that ballad became way more than a song. How Deep Is Your Love outlived the disco fever that defined the Bee Gees and planted itself in generations' hearts. Modern covers, reworks from every genre, versions hitting every corner of the planet showed the song's realness and vulnerability had no expiration date. Music born from the soul beats time. And this ballad, with its gentle notes and honest words, became proof that a heart-written song always finds the ears that need it. The perfect blend of the Gibbs brothers' voices inspired waves of musicians chasing that same gut punch. Acts from pop, R&B, jazz, even electronic have nodded to the Bee Gees' gift for deep emotion with seeming ease. 80s and 90s pop bands, for example, saw it as a blueprint for building a radio smash that still hit the soul, proving a hit could kill without selling out. Modern R&B and soul singers from the US to Europe have name-dropped the Bee Gees as vocal harmony gods and emotional care benchmarks. Groups like Boyz II Men or even Michael Bublé have said their chorus stacking and voice layering came straight from the Gibbs' vocal perfection. And beyond technique or production, what artists chase is the song's soul, that power to make someone shut their eyes, breathe deep, and remember a love, a friend, or a moment they thought was gone. It's wild to think a track born as a brave move amid fame, pressure, and an industry chasing quick bucks could last this long. Every chord speaks to their human side, every line to vulnerability. That combo is why decades later we still connect, feeling the same rush millions felt under flickering club lights. Some music's for dancing, some touches something inside. How Deep Is Your Love is the second kind. Years on, the song landed on Rolling Stone's list of the 5 to 100 greatest songs ever, grabbing spot 375 in one edition, a nod that it wasn't just a hit of its day, it was built to last. Critics raved about its smooth excellence and emotional dive beyond typical disco beat and shake. Even Barry Gibb himself has said it's his favorite band track. The song left a permanent mark on the Bee Gees' story. They weren't just disco rhythm masters, dance floor kings, stadium packers. They were razor-sharp artists who could see past instant glory, bold enough to bear an intimate, human, vulnerable side. That ballad flipped how the world saw them, proving their talent went way beyond making the planet dance. They were built for something massive. Subscribe to the channel if you want us to spin your favorite band's story too. And while Saturday Night Fever kept sweeping the globe, the Bee Gees showed they could mix spectacle with soul-searching, be pop culture icons, and still leave a legacy of heart. Fans and critics agreed. This wasn't just another fad tune, it was an anthem that hit listeners' core, an invite to feel, remember, get choked up with every chord. Looking back today, we get why the song's still kicking. It reminds us real music never dies. A track's worth isn't just sales, awards, or packed tours, it's touching someone's heart, sparking a memory, a feeling, a sigh. That's the real measure of the Bee Gees' legacy. So the story of How Deep Is Your Love is way more than a hit song tale. It's about a band willing to gamble, listen to themselves, chase the essence despite outside noise. It's how a couple brothers and their buddy turned a simple idea into a classic that still moves us. It's the story of quiet courage, the courage to create something beautiful, something that hits people, something that outruns time. And as the neon fades in our minds and disco echoes linger in some memory corner, we get what the Bee Gees taught us. Good music doesn't age. And vulnerability in art always finds its spot back in that far-off 77 and in today's tunes alike. And that's a wrap on this ride. We'll drop another killer music story right here if you want to keep the old school nostalgia flowing. Catch you next time.